In today's edition of Legends of Tennis, let's talk about Ivan Lendl. No matter what you believed about Ivan Lendl, half of tennis fans saw him as a steely, unemotional, and mechanical player. The other half saw him as a dedicated, focused, and supremely talented athlete. There is no disputing that the 8 time major singles champion was a major presence on worldwide tennis courts in the 1980s. Lendl told Sports Illustrated that my mission is not for personal satisfaction. It's not to try to make anyone happy. My mission is to win. And when he did, from 1985 when he swept John McEnroe 7-6, 6-3, 6-4 to win the US Open to the 1988 US Open, which he lost to Mats Wilander 6-4, 4-6, 6-3, 5-7, 6-4, Lendl was the number one world ranked player for 157 straight weeks, only 3 weeks shy of Jimmy Connors' record. Cumulatively, Lendl spent 270 weeks atop the mountain as the best player in the world during a championship laden 13-year span from 1980 to 1992. For 8 straight years, from 1982 to 1989, tennis fans could not tune into a US Open men's singles championship match without seeing the Adidas clad Lendl as one of the two finalists. He reached 19 major singles finals, won 8 of them, captured 94 ATP singles titles in 144 opportunities, and tacked on another 49 victories in non ATP events for 144 career singles titles. He compiled a phenomenal 1071 victories to 243 losses in his entire career. His total number of matches 1314 and total number of wins 1071 is one of the highest in the history of tennis. In its September 15, 1986 edition, shortly after Lendl defeated Czech Miloslav Mečír 6-4, 6-2, 6-love to win his second straight US Open, Sports Illustrated ran the headline on its cover, "The Champ That Nobody Cares About." But the fact was, if you were starting a tennis team, Lendl might have been your top choice. In the majors, he was a finalist and semi-finalist 47 times. The numbers are eyebrow-raising when you count all ATP tournaments he entered, where Lendl was a finalist or semi-finalist 334 times in his career. When asked who the next up-and-comer was at the time, the equally stoic and unattached Bjorn Borg offered Lendl's name. Lendl was going to be an extreme challenger, but in the 1981 French Open final, Borg defeated the Czech for his fourth straight title in 5 highly entertaining sets: 6-1, 4-6, 6-2, 3-6, 6-1. The 6'2", 175-pound Lendl had a strong tennis heritage. His father, Jiří, was a top-ranked player in his native Czechoslovakia. Lendl was a terrific junior player, winning the boys' singles titles at both the French Open and Wimbledon in 1978, a feat that earned him the world number one junior ranking. As a professional, Lendl's strength and power was the difference maker. It was earned by a fanatical work ethic, countless hours bashing balls on the tennis court, and even more hours pumping iron in the weight room. Despite his size, Lendl never fancied the serve and volley game, though he used it effectively when necessary. He was a punishing baseliner, hitting a heavy topspin forehand, though tight and flat compared to high-end looping, and he had one of the most aggressive, relentless backcourt games that tennis has ever seen. His fitness was beyond reproach. Lendl needed 4 hours and 47 minutes to defeat Mats Wilander 6-7, 6-love, 7-6, 6-4 in the 1987 US Open final, and when the match was completed, Lendl looked like he could have played another 4 hours. His running one-handed forehand, his bread and butter shot, was particularly potent against Wilander that afternoon. He used it frequently and under pressure situations to win the championship. Many of those running drives blazed down the line or at acute cross-court angles for winners. New York fans recognized good tennis, and Lendl's athletic shot-making drew raucous applause from the capacity crowd inside Louis Armstrong Stadium. "Nobody likes to see the ball coming back at you faster than you deliver it," quipped Jimmy Connors after defeating Lendl in the 1982 US Open final for the second consecutive year. Lendl won the first of his 8 major singles titles in 1984 when he defeated John McEnroe at tightly contested French Open 3-6, 2-6, 6-4, 7-5, 7-5. Lendl not only rallied from 2 sets down, but he trailed 4-2 in the third set before roaring back. He won at Roland Garros twice more in 1986 over Michael Bernfors 6-3, 6-2, 6-4 and in 1987 over Wilander 7-5, 6-2, 3-6, 7-6. He compiled a 53 wins to 12 losses record in Paris. Lendl's 8 consecutive appearances in the US Open final equaled Bill Tilden's record from 1918 to 1925, though he won 3 fewer than the elder statesman. Lendl overpowered McEnroe in 1985 and pounded Mechir 6-4, 6-2, 6-love in 1986. His 1987 victory over Wilander 6-7, 6-love, 7-6, 6-4 showcased his durability and stamina. He played 86 matches at Flushing Meadows, registering 73 wins and 13 losses. Lendl won back-to-back Australian Opens in 1989 and 1990. Mechir was dispatched in straight sets in 1989, and Lendl captured the 1990 title after Edberg retired in the third set. He was 48-10 in terms of win-loss record in Melbourne. Lendl was a Wimbledon finalist twice with a straight sets loss to Boris Becker in 1986 and following year was felled by Pat Cash in 3 sets. Though he never won a title in 14 attempts at the All England club, the grass were courts not suited for his ground stroke game. His overall record at Wimbledon was a solid 48 wins to 14 losses. Lendl felt he had an edge in racket technology, being one of the first tour players to regularly customize his racket's string tension, balance, weight, and handle, working with the innovative racket doctor Warren Bosworth. Lendl was a force in the tour finals, the culmination of a long year battling the world's finest players. He won the season-ending championship in 1981, 1982, 1985, 1986, 1987, and added the World Championship Tennis Finals titles in 1982 and 1985. In 1980, Lendl was perfect in 7 singles and 3 doubles matches in leading Czechoslovakia to its only Davis Cup championship, winning 4-1 over Italy before a partisan home crowd in Prague. Chronic back problems plagued Lendl in the latter years of his career. They flared up to such an extent that following his second round loss at the 1994 US Open, he retired shortly thereafter at the age of 34. On 31st December 2011, Lendl became Andy Murray's coach, helping the Scot to his first 2 major victories at the US Open in 2012 and Wimbledon Championships in 2013, which ended a 77-year-old drought for a male British tennis player to win a major. In March 2014, Lendl and Murray ended their 2-year coach-player relationship. The pair worked together again from 2016 to 2017. If you like this video on Ivan Lendl, do feel free to check out my video on Jimmy Connors, another legend of the world of tennis.